What's up, Titan fans? Welcome back to the Attack on Titan After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. Tonight, we are breaking down episode 57, That Day. Who is Grisha Yeager? We get his backstory as well as a look at life outside of the walls, and Smile Titan is back. We've got a lot to talk about, so stick around.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, guys? We are so excited to be back here on the Attack on Titan After Show. I don't know about you guys, but this has been the part of the season that we have been waiting for. Last week they were like, it's the basement. We're finally getting to what we want to get to, but we kind of still got nothing. Yeah. This is the episode we got something.
This is what we needed.
This is what we have been waiting for. Hey everyone, I'm Veronica Valencia, and joining me today we have an awesome group of panelists that are ready to talk about this episode. To my left we have...
What's up, Jaimi Gray?
And hey guys, I'm Ollie Drennan.
Carrie could not be here for this episode, but be sure to check her out later when we do our other show, When They Cry. But before we get into that, guys, we're going to be talking all about Grisha and Faye. Oh my gosh, his sister Faye. As well as the tension between the subjects of Ymir and the Marley government, as well as Paradise Island, and that's basically what the wall is. We come to know it. As well as Kruger, and who is he exactly? But before we get into any of that, guys... I mean, I kind of spoke my words. What do you think?
You really just did. I was just like, yes. Okay. Yeah, it was an amazing episode. So many emotions. You know, it's like I was happy to find out who the owl was, but I was also mad. Like, why didn't you do something sooner?
Exactly.
Like, come on. Like, why'd you beat his ass like when he was a kid? Like, you saw. We're gonna get into that, but as you can see, I'm very passionate about it. But it was a great episode. Oh my gosh, Faye. You know, really getting to learn about Grisha, like just knowing, you know, that in a sense, Eren and Zeke, you know, they have two different perspectives, and you know that Grisha even had a whole life before this. It's like no wonder we didn't see anything about him, you know, in the previous seasons. But overwhelmed, but very, very excited.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Like that we're finally getting some closure for some things and how things are slowly but surely connecting. I didn't think we were going to get this much information in this particular episode, just judging by some of the past episodes. But I was so surprised, especially Smile Titan and like coming and how that the connection of how she, you know, killed Eren's mom and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Right? So
Yep.
that was a shocker. And I was really, like, torture scenes are kind of hard to watch sometimes. Torture scenes, you know, those are always kind of hard, but I like that the bad guy, like, got what he deserved in the end. I was like, take that.
Oh.
No, I completely agree with both of you.
It was just that good.
I feel like I would say this has been my favorite episode of season 3.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Titan is known for like their really great action sequences and animation and their character development, but I just loved this chunk of backstory because I feel like this is really the episode that has tied in the entire series for us. Yeah. And I loved, even like you said, Ollie, just kind of still having those shocking, amazing moments of like, oh my gosh, Smile Titan didn't really need any context. We just needed to look at her, and then we kind of get that connection of, you know, everything that happened with Eren's mom in the first episode. And it's crazy. So it was overall such a great episode. Guys, let's dive deep into it. So we open up and we basically find out that there is a life outside of the walls, and it's this city of Marley, basically. And that is where Grisha and his younger sister Faye grew up. And at first it's kind of strange because we've learned that they're like in an internment zone, basically, and they're just like sectioned off from the rest of the society, I guess. What did we think of that?
The upper echelon. So I thought it was interesting because when he and Faye went out to go see the airships, when Faye was scared, he was like, well, you're used to these looks, aren't you? You know, it's like they were so used to this, you know, dark and dying world, just even with them wearing the badges, you know, that differentiates them from, you know, the Marley, you know, government. It was just crazy just to see, you know?
And a couple, like piggybacking off of that, just knowing the thing about the airships, those existing, and the technology in the cars, and how I didn't think of any of that existing on episode 1, season 1, you know? Like, that was not at all. I was like, oh, that's a different time period, but knowing that, wow, these things exist in the same world. This is the same world, and how everything is, all of this stuff that's taken away from that, it's mind-boggling for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy to see how they had stuff like advancements in technology and kind of airplanes and all this other stuff that they don't have within the walls. But to be perfectly honest, I was kind of surprised because it's not, as we learned, it's not too far off from life within the walls. I was honestly expecting, like what Armin has been saying the entire season, just ocean and trees and just like paradise paradise.
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, I was just thinking like complete just paradise on the other side of the walls, but it was very interesting to see that
Maybe a carnival.
yeah, it's basically, it's basically the
Maybe
same
not.
type of world, just a little bit more advanced. And so then they go out, Grisha and his sister, to look at the air show, and then we get these very grueling
Yeah.
discovery of what happens to his sister and how basically the Elydian people are treated just terrible. And it's because we learned that they are basically subjects of Ymir, and there was this whole battle. So what did we think of, you know, kind of how that whole thing went down with Grisha and his sister?
Man, I just kind of wish they had never gone. And I know Grisha just felt the worst type of guilt just bringing her out there in the first place. But I liked that he wanted to take an adventure and, you know, explore and see what was outside of, in a sense, their walls. But it just backfired. And that's why, you know, we do find out that one of the guards is, you know, the owl. But I was just pissed. I'm like, why did you beat him up like that?
Yeah.
How did you not know about your comrade who did this to his little sister? You know, just all those emotions.
Yeah. no, totally. That was really hard to see. I like that they didn't show like anything really.
I think
you know.
don't. If you are watching in our audience right now, just so you know, please no manga spoilers. We are watching the show as it is airing live. I don't think any of us have really tackled the manga, but from what I have heard, I do think I have heard that the manga is a little bit more grueling and maybe did go into some more violence during this part. But
Wow.
I'm not sure if you have read the manga. Just say yes or no, but do not proceed with any manga spoilers, please.
Yeah, but it's like one of those instances where you don't want this to happen to some of these characters and some of these events, but you have to kind of accept them because without these events and these deaths even, you know, we wouldn't be where we are in present day. So
And that's also what I love about anime in general, like where it is versus some cartoons that you might see on like Cartoon Network or something, because people die, like it gets real really quick. And I think, you know, although it's sad, it made me want to keep watching.
And then after gross, true enough, he's really gross. He goes to basically tell Grisha's parents, hey, we found your daughter. She didn't die the way you think she did, though. Spoiler alert. And we basically learn about, you know, the kind of whole backstory of how the Elydians and the subjects of Ymir ended up on Paradise Island, which was like there was this whole war, and the Marley came up on top and were able to steal some of the Titan powers, and the king at the time took all these people to Paradise, wiped their memories, but people were kind of left behind. This, to me, was, like I said, very, very surprising, and it was just kind of cool, I guess, to see, like, oh, everyone at some point within the walls came from this area of Marley. We just didn't know it. So that was really cool to learn. And so then, flash forward a couple of years, Grisha still seems to be living a life, not necessarily a prosperous one, but he is living his life. And he comes to join the Restorationists with the help of Grice. Now, what did we think of this whole kind of change in Grisha? He was just kind of living his life, and now he's like, I want to give our people back our freedom.
I mean, can you blame him? Like, he finds out how Faye died, you know, so I think that is what sparked this, you know, revolt, you know? But yeah, I thought that their alliance was great. It's like you saw him almost pledging, you know, like when you pledge a fraternity or sorority. Yeah. So it's like he was pledging and, you know, he was just vowing like, listen, we're going to do this. So I loved it.
And you need some kind of revolt, because if not, then nothing's ever going to change, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Very self-explanatory.
Yeah, you always want to do something. Yeah, totally here for it. And this is also where he meets Dinah, his wife, and we learned that they have a son named
The other woman. No.
Zeke.
Someone said that in the chat.
She was the original, though.
It is, and I mean, but not to get too far ahead, but it was very ironic how I guess, for lack of a better word, the other woman ate the other woman in this dude's life, you know?
Oh, I gotta kick it over that. That was a standout scene. I'm sorry. I'm still.
It was.
It all makes
I'm still
sense.
coming down because I just watched the episode.
It was.
She loved him, though. Oh, we'll get
Yeah.
into that.
Oh, you, Dinah?
Well,
Yeah, well,
just to see it,
yeah.
we'll get into it. But I'm still heartbroken.
So heartbroken. Oh my gosh. And so I'm curious. So what did you guys think of the moment where, so basically, you know, Grisha has kind of never fell for this Marley propaganda, and slowly but surely he was trying to explain to Zeke the truth behind Marley and everything with the Elydian people. What did you think about the moment when he completely ratted out everybody? like a child is just ratting out everybody.
And they
like,
believed.
and
I'm
they
surprised they believed it.
They believed
child.
him? Yeah.
Yeah.
But also his grandparents, you know, they were probably behind him, like, you know, boosting Zeke up. Like, yes, we're
Maybe.
confirming. Because, I mean, the dad is such a sellout, you know? But yeah, I was really upset with Zeke, and I feel like I know who Zeke is, of course. And I just felt really bad for them as a whole. I could not like your son.
Yeah.
Your son?
Yeah, but I think what stood out to me in that scene was how to not like force feed your own beliefs. There was a line in there that don't force feed your beliefs into your kids without thinking of the consequence, I guess, and how that could negatively potentially affect them. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was very surprising to, like you said, Ollie, the fact that they believed Zeke because he was such a young
Right.
child. So that was mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling.
And so then we get into kind of the torture scene where they're just they know that there's an informant within their own ranks, and it's the owl, and they're trying to get it out of Grisha, but they can't. So then finally they decide to take him to paradise, which we basically learn is a big desolate land going towards the walls. And so kind of, what did we think about this? Because we know that Titan serum is a thing, and like it took us so long to finally get there, but here they are in Marley using it like it's nobody's business, you know?
Yeah, like that was crazy. Just to even see them transforming like back to back, I just felt so bad for Grice. You know, I think it's just wild. We literally did not know about this whole world before this current time that we're in. It's still mind-boggling.
did the Monopoly looking guy? Did he have a name with the mustache? Like,
The general guy?
yeah, did he
Gross.
Gross.
General
Okay,
Gross, yeah.
I just labeled him the Monopoly guy. He was evil.
The fact that he treated it like it was nothing, like, oh, it's just education for us. It's interesting. Like, you know, he really did not care.
And how he saw them as just lesser than, because they were the Eldians, right?
Yes.
And how, like, just having the serum, they could instantly turn into just by injection.
Mm-hmm.
So that was...
And there was so much of it.
Yeah.
You know, why so little now?
And Dinah, oh my gosh, I just feel really bad. It makes me look at that scene in season 1 completely differently than, because I hated the Smiling Titan. We all hated her.
We
but now,
all didn't like her.
but now we kind of, weirdly, crazily, because I don't read their manga, okay, like Veronica said, I sympathize with that Titan now.
Just a little bit.
Just
she
a little
didn't
bit.
have to do.
I see like a different perspective for sure. And she didn't have to do her Eren's mom dirty like that. No, not by any means. But that was such a powerful scene when she was telling him, like, no matter what form I'll take, I'm still gonna come and find you. And she tried to come find him. You know?
Yeah, she kind of did.
She found Eren's mom.
She did find him, kind of, sort of, not really. Oh, but no, I completely agree with you. When we learned kind of the truth behind Titans, we all, to some extent, I felt sympathy towards these people because, you know, they're just kind of mindless and roaming around, and they didn't really have a choice in how they were transformed. And it was even very terrifying for Grice. You know, he's putting all the blame on Grisha because, you know, it was his son, but it's like, we would think that my son would be, you know, with us and would try and help us. You know, they were, I guess you could say, they were kind of grooming him for this. So it was just very heartbreaking, really, to hear his closest allies and friends in the whole wide world just really bash on him for something like that.
And all he could say was sorry. And it's just like, that's what hurt the most, I think, was like, that's all he can say. You know, he can't control his son like that.
Yeah, and just like kind of looking at Zeke's perspective of kind of having his parents all of a sudden, you know, kind of instill all of these things that makes him think that his current life was like a lie or something, kind of like that. So it was just wild.
And as a result, his mom turned into a Titan. Like, look what you did. So, but it's like, hopefully he realizes the error, but I'm sure we'll figure that out, like, what his reaction is.
I have a suspicion that we learn more about Zeke and kind of his whole mindset as we go on, but just in this moment, you guys are bringing up great questions. Like, you know, look at kind of what you did. Like, you had your parents basically be eaten by the fishes is what happened. And then what's even more touching is, you know, obviously Grisha is losing all of his friends, but then he's losing Dinah because they bring her up to the wall. And he thought that she would be safe, because he's basically, during the interrogation, like, he won't give up the owl, but I feel he probably was like, she's got royal blood, that should spare her, but it didn't. And so that even made it more emotional.
Yeah.
And so then in that moment where we kind of learn about the Smiling Titan, we get a flashback to basically Eren and Mikasa, who are serving time because they went against Levi and Hanji. Ollie, you loved Mikasa's bedhead.
I didn't know who that was at first. I turned to Veronica, I'm like, who is that? And then it was her hair. Her hair was completely different. Was not prepared. I'm sorry.
Was this scene kind of out of place to you, or did you feel okay? Like, it was the only different scene in this entire episode. It was just Eren kind of like, I am one with my dad's memories, and he comes to learn who Smiling Titan is. Did we like this, or did we feel it was out of place?
It was almost refreshing to me, in my opinion, just because we got all that information, and like, it gave me time to breathe. I'm like, oh my god, I can be back with these characters that we've known for 3 seasons and whatnot, and to kind of just have all that information with these characters in present day. It felt good to me as a viewer, personally.
I'm going to say it felt a little out of place for me, just because it's like, because of the cut frame or whatever you want to call it, editing terms, it was just like, oh, Eren, he's screaming. And so I think it was just, a little shocking. But I kind of wish that I want him to find out in a more concrete way, like, oh, not just, oh, we're just going to assume that he did, for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I kind of... at first I thought it was a little bit out of place, but obviously, Titan being very well written and everything, they're like, oh, this is why it's important, because he's recalling basically Smile Titan and all this stuff. So then let's go back to the wall where Grisha is basically, he's being the last one thrown overboard for a reason, and it's because we learn that Kruger is the informant, the owl, and he basically sends Gross to his death, which, like, I want to give this guy an applause, because Gross was terrible. But what did we think of this? That he has the power of one of the 9 Titans.
I think it's amazing. I'm like, finally, like, you can actually help. And I love that he was like, this is what a Titan is supposed to do. So this is how you help out. That whole ending scene was just epic. It was like
But like Jaimi said, he could have done it sooner.
He could have done it a lot sooner. Like, come on.
I'm not trying to like give him I mean, he's done a lot, but I can feel like it's probably one of those things that took like time and a lot of time to
He could have been pushed him over. I mean, all those people he could have saved from. Why didn't you save your royal person? Like, hey, let me inject her. I got it. And then kick him over.
True.
Or become the Titan then.
With one critique, that's it.
With that kind of power, there's a lot he could have done. I agree with you, Jaimi.
Because he's the one that brought her in, right? Because she said like the owl brought. Yeah,
the owl brought her in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you failed.
Well, Kruger, you better give us a really good, interesting explanation next week as to why you waited so long. And so right now we're actually going to go into some news. But before we go into our exciting news, any final thoughts on this episode, guys?
Ooh, overwhelming, but again, I'm excited. It made me so much more excited for the next episode because, of course, I see the preview that's coming up, so I'm just so ready for that. Yeah.
Oh, damn. I didn't even watch the preview. So maybe I'm always going to these episodes blind, so we'll see.
We can assume it's a continuation of just like more information, which I'm all about. So I'm very excited for that. So now, guys, let's get into some quick news for tonight.
Yes. Okay, guys, so news and gossip time. Hear that music, yeah. Okay, so all of our Anime Expo fans, and if you guys are actually going, remember, we're going to. Carrie will be there as well. We'll be doing interviews. You might see us in some cosplay, casual cosplay, the whole shebang. But for My Hero Academia, remember, they are premiering the first episode there. Woo! So for Saturday, July 6th, okay, mark your calendars, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., it's going to be playing there in the main event, Hall B, okay? Hall B. And just rewind if you need to, but you will need your wristbands to make sure you have that. And also, Evangelion is on Netflix.
I did not know that was a redub, actually. I thought they were just putting the original on Netflix.
I have not seen it, so that is great to hear. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's our news and gossip, but yeah, make sure you guys check that out.
Thank you, Jaimi. Right, let's get into some predictions now for next week's episode.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so clearly I think Beast Titan is Zeke. And I think that we'll just find more about the owl and how he helps out Grisha and kind of how all of these other walls are eventually formed. So I'm excited. It's all coming full circle. I love it.
Oh my god. I didn't even think of that.
All these damn walls, Maria, and all these. It's just too much.
I didn't even think that Beast Titan could be Zeke.
Oh, the blonde hair.
I'm an
It's
idiot.
a very strong.
But no,
Apparently,
he
yeah.
did not have glasses as a child. I don't know. No, now I think that's gonna happen. Oh my god, you're a genius. I'm just a doofus.
No, it's okay. Because I didn't know that Smile Titan actually was the one that killed Eren until you guys said. I was like, oh my god, that all makes
Really?
sense. So it's okay.
Well, all I say is I hope we get like we had a good flashback episode, and I just hope we get more like I hope a present day episode now.
Yeah.
You know, kind of juggle it. Present day, pass.
I think, I agree. I think it's going to be a kind of a balance. Like maybe the first half will kind of be the scouts delivering this information to the higher ups and then kind of going back, because I do want to know Kruger's whole backstory and kind of how he came into the possession of one of the 9 Titans and kind of how the whole mission came out for there, how Grisha was able to get to the Paradise Island. But more than anything, I have questions kind of about Eren now, because Grisha's obviously going there and he's kind of going there for a mission. Did he like bear Eren out of love, or did he bear him out of purpose? Did he love his life there, or was it all just kind of part of the mission or everything? That's what I want to know.
That's my thoughts
I'll settle
too.
for this.
Yeah.
Did he really love Eren's mom? Because he was always gone. And I mean, imagine how traumatized you are. You saw your wife turn into a beast.
Yeah. So it's
funny,
really
it's just-
sad to think about, but I wonder if that's going to be something Eren kind of has to face moving forward. Like, oh, did my dad care about me, or was I always just kind of like a pawn in his mission? Or maybe there's something that we learned about that we don't know. But
Zeke
that's what I want to know.
Last thing, Zeke could easily have thought that he was a pawn when his parents tried to convert him.
Yeah.
Even though they had good intentions, but still.
I'm like, what kept him wanting to do this? You know?
We all want to know. But unfortunately, we have to wait until next time to see that episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Attack on Titan After Show. We're so happy to be here and talk this episode. Ollie, where can the fans find you on the internet?
On the internet, you can find me at all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer.
And you can find me, Jaimi Gray, on Twitter at It's Jaimi Gray, or on Instagram at Jaimi Gray, Jaimi.
You can find me, Veronica Valencia, on Twitter and Instagram at It's Me, Veronica_V. You can also follow our anime show on Twitter at ABTV Anime. And be sure to stick around for our other anime show. Right now, we are covering When They Cry, so be sure to tune into that right after this. Be sure to tune in next time, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.